Hey guys, this is a video I'm very excited to do. As you can see, this is the trailer for Sackboy, A Big Adventure, the sequel to LittleBigPlanet. Well, not a sequel, it's more of a spin-off in the same vein as Sackboy's prehistoric moves and like Run Sackboy Run. So it's a spin-off game. And if you don't know much about me, LittleBigPlanet was one of my favorite games growing up from like the age of like 7 to 15. All about that game. My life in and out was that game. That game and GTA 5. So, very happy this year with the PlayStation 5 announcement. So we're going to do a little bit of trailer analysis. I've noticed some things people haven't. I've seen some things that people haven't really picked up on. I've got some input to make. And this is just going to be a run through, sort of trailer reaction, sort of a bit of an informal analysis. So let's get underway. So first of all, the first thing we've got to pay attention to is that it is made by Sumo Digital, the same people that made LittleBigPlanet 3, and as we know, they did kind of fumble the package with that. They did fumble the ball, and they kind of dropped the ball. The launch of LittleBigPlanet 3 and the state of it at the moment is very glitchy, like extremely glitchy. Like I've lost my, I stopped playing it because I thought the series was dead, and it made me sad thinking about it. After this dropped, I put the game on, and within a couple hours, my data got corrupted. Now that isn't the normal time, but yeah, it's a sign of how things are. So they've done this before. This is a sort of trope they did where it was Sackboy and it was like some sort of serious atmosphere, and then it would be sort of a goofy LittleBigPlanet game. Now, I already knew that this game was a LittleBigPlanet game in about the first 5 seconds I heard about it. A friend of mine who also played the same game with me told me it was, but this would have blown my mind if I saw it. I'm inclined to believe this is in-game, or like, see, the thing is, the fur is very like weird, but this is very quote-unquote JPEG'd. The same is true of a lot of GTA 5 stuff. The clothes are like low quality because you're never supposed to see them up close. But because online reuses clothes from NPCs, you do end up seeing the clothes, and they're very JPEG-y. This here, it's a bit of an emotional moment for me. It's the return of one of my favourite video games, and it's been so long of me playing this. I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory here. I'm going to ramble on like an old man, but I thought this series was dead when I first saw this. I thought this series was basically over because they pulled the servers from LittleBigPlanet PSP, which was a very old game when it came out and nobody really played it compared to how many people played LittleBigPlanet 3. But they pulled the servers, so I thought it was over for the series. And at the moment, I'm not so sure about this direction they're going, but I really do like that the series is coming back, and this is our best hope for a LittleBigPlanet 4 in the future. You'll notice it's very much similar. I'm pretty sure this is in-game, because it's very similar to LittleBigPlanet 3, which I've been playing not even an hour ago. It's also got this stitching, and the eyes have much better reflectivity here. So this is the new title, Sackboy, A Big Adventure. Not what I would have gone with, but the name's the name. I don't really have any choice over it. But this is it's a okay title. I think Sumo Digital here is testing the waters. I think Sony is trying to figure out if people still know about LittleBigPlanet. If people will come back, and so far I've seen like a revitalization of certain LittleBigPlanet communities. And I know I do tend to say LittleBigPlanet weird, so please forgive me for this one sin. So this is a stunning turn of events for a LittleBigPlanet game. If you haven't played the games, they're a little side scroller. They're not 2D. They're like side scroller, you only move on 3 layers, 3 like 2D layers in a 3D environment, but this is full 3D. And of course, this will get me striked, or not striked, claimed, but the music of the Go Team, which is the classic LittleBigPlanet, sort of, their music is always in any of the trailers, and it is pretty cool to see they're still using that. They still use the same sort of very simple materials, like handcrafted, so this is stitched up, it looks. This is sort of just, plywood, stuff like that. Like, that's just string, and those are just stickers on a 2D background. Of course, a 3D environment's a bit odd for a LittleBigPlanet game, and this is the big thing, especially with this character here, that we can see, who looks way too realistic, way too, not realistic, but way too fluid to be made in a LittleBigPlanet game, or to be made by a player. So there's a theory that this is a LittleBigPlanet with no creation and no creative mode, which is, well, that would be stunning, because LittleBigPlanet has been from day one about creating and building stuff and sharing it online. But then again, we have these boxes, which became a staple of the community because you could just open up the materials tool and just slap down a box in about a second, and that became sort of go-to way to fill a gap. Okay, so looking at the gameplay, and all 4 seconds of gameplay, all 4 milliseconds I've looked at, really reminds me of Mario Odyssey. Especially with the whole enemies running at you, you're running forward, there goes my phone, and then you're jumping on stuff, and you'll see in a second. Again, there's a similar thing that was done in one of the old LittleBigPlanet games, but nowhere near like this. This is so... These models move constantly, whereas in LittleBigPlanet it was sort of as soon as you jump on it, it makes one solid movement upwards. It's not a sort of living, breathing creature. It's more of a, 2 pieces of cardboard that move up and down. So this is quite interesting. Like, we've seen these same handcrafted materials. I think it's going to go for the same aesthetic as the main series, but have no creation, and that will sadden me and sadden most players and probably turn a lot of people off. But I can't help but think this is probably going to lead into a 4th main series game. So, you take the good with the bad. Okay, so Point Bubble's back. The animation for them is different now. He sort of absorbs them, and also the grappling looks back. Can't forget that. The Point Bubbles are absorbed into him as opposed to when they would pop when he would touch them, and you would sort of see like little plastic looking like shreds on the floor that would slowly dissolve. So yeah, this is different, and it's much less handcrafted like the original LittleBigPlanet was. This is odd. These are prize bubbles, as contextually you'll see later they are, but they're hiding what's in them, because this is just a 3D sort of reflection of the world. So I don't know what could be in these. Maybe it's spoilery stuff, but there's some prize bubbles I want to show you because I figured something out that I don't think many people have, and I want to bring attention to that. I like this. This is a new tool. It's a sort of hamster ball. It reminds me of Super Monkey Ball. He's running towards. There's big piles of score bubbles, which is something you don't really see in LittleBigPlanet, in that number. But I think it's because the 3D world. Again, you've got these prize bubbles here that just have a reflection of the world, and I like this. These sort of 2D cutouts. Now that's very like LittleBigPlanet 1. It sort of has that same aesthetic. I mean, there's this is made of cardboard. This is made of wood. That's probably made of cloth. And then there's these wooden boxes that come down in just a second. Okay, this really reminds me of the later levels of the 3rd game, where you'd be, there'd be water everywhere, and there's glitter in the water, which I really appreciate the detail here. Like, this is something I get like hyper fixated on the detail. I love the bricks here as well. I never really noticed this till now, but there's glitter in the water. And a thing about LittleBigPlanet, since the first game, there's always been glitter in the water, and it's sort of, I think it just makes it look better and makes it easier to navigate. I just realised he's also got a boomerang tool. That's pretty cool. I figured it was some sort of thing he was throwing, but there's a boomerang tool, which is pretty cool. So we've got 2 new tools. We've got the ball and boomerang. And I wonder how they're gonna, be played. They're gonna play out. Reminds me sort of the Paintinator, which was a little paintball gun. Now this guy looks like he's an enemy from Spyro. Like, this isn't the LittleBigPlanet I remember, and Sack was looking a little bit pissed off. This is probably maybe a hub area because there's keys and stuff like that. So this could be an area you revisit. I haven't looked too deeply into this. This is sort of a brief analysis. I like that this is sort of carpet with some straps on it, and this is sort of just a lattice of, I think, paper. Also, okay, I did miss it there, but I'll show you in a second. There was a challenge key, which is so you take it to go to the challenge levels, which are sort of like survival levels for points. These are more cutouts here, and this is the first prize bubble I want to show you. This is a hat. I can tell it's a hat. It's pretty obvious it's a hat. I think they wanted us to see it, but I don't think they anticipated us seeing this. Now this is, it took me a long time to figure this out, but this is Avalon from the second game. He is one of the main characters from the second game. He's on his side, sort of laying on his side. He's not laying down, but it's the same model on his side with a white coat on. His sort of typical white coat. And I don't know how this is going to affect story. I don't know if maybe it will let you play as Avalon. That'd be pretty neat. I'd love to play as the older characters, because I don't feel like they get enough love in the latest game, which came out like 6 years ago. So yeah, it's been a stagnant series, but this is Avalon, and I'm 100% sure it is. You've even got his little legs and his hand. So I wonder how that'll play into the whole game. And I like this monster design. He's got like a little Russian hat, and he's got like paper hands that are really thin. But yeah, I'm glad character customization is back, and we're about to see some really cool stuff, so I'll show you again. This boss really reminds me of like a classic LittleBigPlanet boss, the way it hovers over you and has those big evil eyes, which are the same eyes from the actual game, but it's very fluid. I mean, I said the same thing with LittleBigPlanet 3, that the bosses were very fluid, and I thought they were made using special tools, because the whole quirk of this game is everything you can make, everything you can play, you can make in the engine, so there's no real difference between you and the developer. Now this boss looks a bit too fluid, but I've already said this about sort of other bosses in the other games. So I wonder if maybe this is the game just being like maybe more advanced. Maybe you can create this, but I'd love to see how it pans out. And you're going to see sort of an arena, sort of like Crash. So those were a ton of bounce pads, but I want to show you this. This is sort of looks like Mario. I'm guessing you're going to pick him up and throw him into one of these and blow him up, sort of like Mario 64. But you'll notice that it's very reminiscent of LittleBigPlanet 3. It's got like a trim around here, and it's also very high detail. Like there's little bumps here, and there's a circle here. There's like sort of a wave pan. So I don't think this is created in game. But yeah, you'll see here Sackboy's stretching. He's doing a stretch. He's becoming tall. He's getting his red mushroom. This is a challenge key, so it unlocks a later level. So I'm glad that's returning as a staple of the franchise. And this is a second player, which is typical LittleBigPlanet. I'm gonna show you in a second, like the graphical fidelity. I know it's a bit toned down. I'm using OBS and I'm running it for a YouTube rip, so it's not gonna look the best. But I really love the character design. Okay, I thought a certain scene would play that didn't play. It's of course probably a press screenshot I've seen somewhere else, but it's very high detail. And I thought that of LittleBigPlanet 3 when it came out on PS4. I was like, whoa, this is so high detail. and now this is even more high detail. They're using the boomerangs again. They're hitting these sort of I was gonna say shrimp, but I know they're squid monsters, and sort of popping up these big pathways in front of them, which is a really cool gameplay aspect that I don't think we'd be able to make on our own. This is an interesting thing here. There's sort of a gift image, like a gift picture on here. So I wonder how that will play out. This is from the third game. This is Buncombe Lagoon. Now, something I've noticed is there are tons of old level locations here in this later side of the trailer. This is Buncombe Lagoon. This is inside the whale in Buncombe Lagoon. Now, that's a level that's pretty cool. I don't know the name of it. I didn't play much LittleBigPlanet 3, but you go inside this whale, and he's sort of like made of like felt and stuff, and it's endearing, but you're also being eaten alive inside a whale, so it's pans out a bit weird. But this is inside the whale because it's got the same sort of not fins, but like scales and the same materials. So I think this is inside the whale, but I've got another piece of evidence that this will take place partly in Buncombe, which is the location from the third game. This is very interesting. You move an object, which I'm glad to see that's returning. I'm glad this game's very physics-based still, at least a little physics-based, because physics is the best part of LittleBigPlanet. So, being able to drag an object. Goes my phone again. But, these two things are throwing each other, and you can see a sort of co-op thing, which was co-op challenges have always been a bit of LittleBigPlanet that I didn't really do much because I really mainly played on my own. But it's pretty cool that co-op challenges are back. Or this is interesting for a LittleBigPlanet game. Now, I don't know what this is. None of this is reminiscent to me, so I don't think it's somewhere we've been before. But it's a moving boat, and you're on a boat, and that's never really happened. That's happened in a sort of 2D environment, but it's never happened in a 3D environment. But then again, we've never had a 3D LittleBigPlanet game. This is the first one. Now look at this character. Now Sackboy is very much like his PS4 appearance. Very sort of messy, and it's because he's knit. And I like that. He's got little fibers, and that's actually something he doesn't have on PS4. This character is very high detail. See, you can't really make out here, but there is a little bit of texture on the lip and on this area and on the skin. And it's the same eyes as before, so same customizations, and the hair has little hexagons, it looks like. So I really like the costumes back, and the costumes are very vibrant. There's a big character here that looks more like a traditional LittleBigPlanet character. She's like a big monkey woman. And that's pretty neat. I don't know where that'll play, and there's a sort of, I think it's a clock on the floor and some images. They're little don't know the exact term, but little instant camera images, because those were sort of the big thing in the game. You would go from chapter to chapter, and it would be on a little instant character image, camera image. But this ground looks very high detail. Now I don't know if this is in game. I'm pretty sure it's in game. I wouldn't be shocked if it is. I mean, this wasn't being pulled off in LittleBigPlanet 3, but it was nearing this level on PS3. We're going back to this area, the double points are back, but there's also double point bubbles, which were right there. And there's sort of, I don't know what to comment here. There's reused assets, which does lend to my whole theory. I've noticed that this ice here is actually white leather, which I really like. I really like those little details. So we've got Return to 4 characters. Now this design I really like because it's reminiscent of the second game. They would have a lot of high-tech designs for characters, and what I think this is in Buncombe again, in Buncombe Lagoon, the 4th chapter of the game, because look at that crab hand. That crab hand, very similar crab hand, was in the game, and there's also an aquatic-looking monster back here. It's very aquatic. And then we're going to move on to this area, which is less aquatic, but it does have rope, and actually it does have a fish net. This might be in a different area of Buncombe Lagoon. Buncombe Lagoon had like an area up in the sky and it had an area inside a whale. So it was very varied. Each chapter was varied, and I like that this is a sticker. This is just a sticker on the material. So this is another 3D vehicle level. See, this is why I don't think it will be in-game, because I don't know how this would be possible to pull off in-game. But you can see they're fighting off monsters, the same monsters from earlier, on a moving train. It looks more like, I was going to say the canyons, but less now that I look at it. But it's very sort of, looks kind of like canyonish, like they're in a canyon, so wouldn't surprise me. Okay, this is very high tech. Now I like that. Now LittleBigPlanet 2 was very high tech. It had sort of very not futuristic, but very there was like a technological aspect, whereas LittleBigPlanet 1 was, you know, cloth and things were connected by ropes, and there was very little technology. And then LittleBigPlanet 2 added microchips and stuff like that. I like this return to technology. I like this. This is sort of, they're going up and down and shooting, which is very interesting. But I like this. This is sort of a character. This exact sticker, I'm pretty sure, was in the game, and this one too, this little hand. And he's painting stuff, which is, they would have the same thing. It would be like a moving 2D sticker character moving and doing stuff, but not really getting anything done. They're sort of jumping over electric here, and I like that electric has come back. That's a classic LittleBigPlanet hazard. But there's not much to comment on here. Now this is what I wanted to get to. I'll get a little bit. So we can see that this is probably the ziggurat, the third chapter in LittleBigPlanet, which was sort of a big, like Russian, pretty sure, like palace. And this was like the lower layer. So this reminds me of that a lot, and there's like beads and stuff like that, and a lot of decoration. It does very much fit that handcrafted aesthetic with like very like close objects, and it looks like it could be like a physical little diorama made. Also, I like this stylistic choice. This was a stylistic choice they used in LittleBigPlanet 3 to have this kind of uneven bevel around an object like this. This is, I believe, from these tubes and the tropical plants, I think this is Eve's Garden from the second game. Now I like this, because LittleBigPlanet 2 was like the best game in the series. And I like any return to LittleBigPlanet 2. But yeah, I like this a lot. It reminds me of Eve's Garden. It's sort of a water level, they're going down on the pipes, so I like that. It sort of reminds me of Ratchet and Clank. And you can see that it's very much handcrafted still. But yeah, that's about the trailer. I want to show that little gag there, that made me chuckle. It's the same monsters again. But yeah, that's about the trailer. This is probably all I missed, but I just wanted to mention that Avalon thing and some of the other things about the ziggurat and like different locations from the game. And I'm glad that like Eve's Garden is back, and I hope that is Eve's Garden, because you know, I would hate to be wrong there. But yeah, see the plants there made me think that maybe it was not like no create mode. But I would love to be proven wrong there. I would love for this game to have create mode, and the empty prize bubbles makes me think it probably will have a create mode. But also like the environment makes me think it won't. So I'm torn. But at the end of the day, I also did think that LittleBigPlanet 3 wouldn't, because of how advanced some of the things were by LittleBigPlanet 2 standards. And that was a difference of about 2-3 years. This is a difference of 6 entire years. Like, no games between. So this could be some crazy creation engine that they've been working on for like 6 years, and I really hope it is. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to be bringing more LittleBigPlanet content. This will slowly become a LittleBigPlanet channel, I'm worried. But at the end of the day, LittleBigPlanet was my life for a long time, so I do like that. I do like LittleBigPlanet a lot. It's very charming. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. If you got anything you noticed that I didn't, comment it down below. Like, subscribe if you enjoyed. And have a good one, and peace out.